Hey everyone, this is Michael Brook from Rapid Couples Counselling. I just thought I'd record this brief video on the threshold pattern. Relationships go through reliable, repeatable stages. And a woman by the name of Leslie Cameron Bandler in the late 70s came up with a model of relationships called the threshold pattern that appears to be incredibly accurate. I've yet to meet a single couple who hasn't said that this has been either substantially accurate or incredibly accurate to describe their relationship. So let me take you through the stages of the threshold pattern so you can understand the stages of relationships and what to do about it. So the first step is the attraction phase. In the attraction phase, it's the falling in love with you bit. It's the part of the relationship where you're crazy stupid in love, you're having sex like crazy, you're spending a whole heap of time with each other, you're giving each other your time and attention, you're making sure your emotional needs are met, your physical needs are being met because you're having sex all the time, you're having distance and time apart, and you're making each other feel desired and desirable. And everything's all wonderful. It's the honeymoon phase. It's a bit everybody wants to get back to. Now, during the attraction phase, there's a whole heap of different things that are occurring neurologically, hormonally, and biologically that literally make us addicted to our partner. The brain scans of people who are crazy stupid in love bear a remarkable resemblance to cocaine addicts. When you put a cocaine addict and someone who's crazy stupid in love in a functional resonance imaging machine, then their brain scans appear to be incredibly similar. We literally make ourselves addicted to our partner, but that can only be sustained for a short period of time, normally about 12 to 18 months. Now, after that 12 to 18 months, the relationship goes into the appreciation phase. Now, in the appreciation phase, what tends to happen is you learn to appreciate the things about your partner that nobody else knows about, right? How nice it is to wake up with them on a cold winter's morning. How nice it might be that might cook for you, or that they might take the bin out when it's bin day, or how nice it might be that they might take you out to a restaurant when you're not feeling so great. All of these things happen in the appreciation phase. Now, normally somewhere around the 2 to 3 year mark, that's when people decide or evaluate whether to be together for a longer term. And if they do decide to be together for a longer term around the 2 to 3 year mark, then what tends to happen is they do so on the erroneous expectation that everything that happened up until then is going to happen afterwards forever. And the problem is that's always wrong, because change happens, life happens, work happens, you got work stress happens. Often when kids show up, kids put a tremendous pressure on the relationship. There could be some physical issues, maybe someone gets sick. So there's all kinds of things that tend to show up after the first couple of years that can put pressure on the relationship. But people normally get into the relationship or get into the longer term or commit to being together for longer term on the erroneous expectation that nothing's ever going to change, and it's always wrong. So the exact long-term relationship or the exact marriage everybody expects they're going to get is the one that nobody ever gets, and when what they didn't expect shows up, which was always 100% going to happen, they think there's something going wrong. And they think they might have made a mistake picking their partner, or they think they might have made a mistake getting involved with them. But it's actually just life showing up. Okay? Now, after the appreciation phase comes the habituation phase, where you get in a habit of relating. You've decided to be together, and so you get into this kind of routine. So every Friday night you might go out to a restaurant or go out to a bar for a drink. Every Saturday morning you might go to the markets, and Sunday morning you might have sleep-in Sunday morning sex. Until the kids show up. And then once the kids show up, then that sleep-in Sunday morning sex doesn't happen for a decade or more. After the habituation phase comes the expectation phase. Now, in the expectation phase, what tends to happen is that all the stuff that happened at the beginning of the relationship, you expect this stuff to be happening now. And the problem is that doesn't happen. And when what was going on at the beginning doesn't show up, then resentment starts to build. Now, normally around in the expectation phase, kids show up. There's normally one child show up, and then often, just to make things easier, 2 years later you have another one. and it gets even harder still. So at the beginning of the relationship, you're giving each other your time and attention. You're getting your emotional needs met. You're having sex a lot. you're making your partner feel desired and desirable. You had distance and time apart. But once kids show up, all that stuff goes out the window. It's very, very difficult to do that once children show up. And that's assuming your child is healthy. And if your child is unhealthy, or there's lots of other stuff going on, it becomes even harder still. Now, and then resentment starts building up, because people look back at how things were at the beginning and they go, what's going on right now isn't what I expected. Now, after the expectation phase comes disillusionment. Now, disillusionment phase, normally this is at a year or two, sometimes more. And in the disillusionment phase, people look at what's going on going, is this my life? Is this really what I want? Because you've normally got one or two children, or your needs aren't being met, you're not giving your partner your time and attention, your partner doesn't have time for you, sometimes they're working really hard, you might be really stressed with kids, you're not giving your partner time and attention, the sex life is normally boring and mundane, it's nowhere near as much fun what it was at the beginning, your emotional needs aren't met, your partner doesn't let you know that they desire you in an unequivocal way, and all of these things that happen in the disillusionment phases, people go, is this my life? Is this what I signed up for? And normally in disillusionment phase, clients talk about, we feel like we're flatmates, or we feel like we're like flatmates co-parenting children. That's what people talk about in disillusionment phase. Now, after disillusionment phase comes the threshold phase. Now, in the threshold phase, what tends to happen is you got repetitive arguments that go nowhere. There's no spontaneous kissing and touching. Often there's quite negative, critical, or contemptuous language. Often people fight about absolutely minimal things for no reason whatsoever. And often the sex life is really, really crap. And often one or both people is looking at their partner saying, should I stay or should I go? Now, this is normal. There's 6 steps from attraction to threshold. Most people take 12 to 18 months per step. So most people are hitting threshold between the 6 to 10 year mark. Now, the timeframes can be a little bit mushy. Like some people will take 15, 17, 20 years to hit threshold. But for most people, they're hitting it between the 6 to 10 year mark. And the statistics prove this. Roughly 75% of affairs occur between the 6 to 10 year mark. The most common period of time for people to get divorced, the most common year, is in the 10th year of their relationship. 10th year of their marriage. That's the most common year for them to get divorced. Everything I've talked about in the threshold pattern is normal. It's absolutely normal. It's the universal pattern of human relationships. But it can be reversed. It can be changed. People can go back to that feeling of being crazy, stupid in love. They can go back to that feeling of being really intimately connected and desiring and wanting the relationship. But it takes a considered amount of effort from both people and professional help. This is my specialty. I help people navigate the threshold pattern. I help people get back to the feeling of being crazy, stupid in love, where they are meeting each other's needs, where they're giving each other time and attention, where their sexual engagement is great, where they're having distance and time apart, and when they're making each other feel desired and desirable. And if you work on those things, of doing those 5 things, you can dramatically and rapidly change your desire in the relationship and desire for each other. Now, if you are in threshold, please know that it's normal and there's nothing going wrong. It might seem like the world's falling down. It might seem like you've just blown away 6 or 10 years of your life by being in a relationship with the wrong person. It might seem like that's the case, but really, it's important to know that your circumstance can change, but it requires both people actively seeking out the solution. And if both people actively seek out the solution and seek out change, then change can happen really quickly. So I hope this has helped. If you feel like your relationship is in crisis, please give me a call on 0432681321. If this has resonated with you and you want to book in a session, the booking link is in the description. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to making some more content for you. And thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Thanks, bye.